I'm Carol Wilson, Editor-at-Large for Light Reading, and I'm here with Jim Sabey, the Head of Sales Specialist for BT Americas. And Jim, you spoke on a conference panel earlier this morning. We talked a lot about the pace of NFV and SDN and the transformation process that's happening right now. Give me the BT perspective on the progress you're seeing on that front.
Okay, yeah, great question. We're actually seeing a lot of progress, especially around virtualization. Arguably, we've actually been having virtualization technologies in our network for a long time. Basically, us using them internally, but now we're actually getting to the point where we're starting to resell these services to our customers, to our end customers. So virtualization, we've seen a lot of progress in the last, I'd say, 12 to 18 months, where we actually have embedded technology, for example, riverbed acceleration and firewalling in our network so that customers don't have to actually have that equipment on their premise anymore. It's actually in our cloud in a virtualized type of atmosphere.
Okay, and what are your customers expecting from you in terms of new services?
No, it's a really great question. The customers I talk to on a daily basis, Carol, they're asking for speed and agility and flexibility. And also, we're starting to see more of a consumption-based model what that virtualization brings to the table. So kind of like the Amazon methodology where pay for it as I use it sort of mentality. So I'll give you a perfect example. I have a customer that they said it took them 2 years to get a CPE appliance into Brazil to get through customs and all that. Whereas now with virtualization, they could actually just go out and buy their own x86 server and actually deploy that same thing that they waited 2 years through customs. They could deploy it in a matter of minutes or hours and configure it over the network via what we call the App Store at BT that BT is developing. So kind of similar to a cell phone where you have the Google Play Store or Apple iTunes Store. BT is going to have an App Store where you'll be able to download the virtualization of these network functions like a riverbed or a firewalling or whatever, or an InfoVista down to an x86 server instead of waiting for the hardware to get through.
Okay. What have been the challenges to getting to that point?
I would say the biggest challenge is BT's a global networking company. We operate in 198 countries. And when we deploy these services, we want to actually deploy them globally, not just in 5 countries here and then 10 countries there and then 20 countries there. So making sure that we have everything from service delivery to pricing to supporting it in life, triaging it, making sure that we have the full suite of services and all the different departments of BT engaged and aligned so that we can actually bring these services. And also, just one other quick comment, it's customers. Customers for a long time have been gun shy of basically going with virtualization because they're nervous about having all these functions on a single box. Because they're used to the traditional data center 19-inch rack, if you will, that's got the router, the firewall, the optimization device. Now we're telling customers, wait a minute, time out. You can put all this in one box. And I'm really excited because more and more customers, for a smaller office, they're really starting to envision this single truck row. So now I don't have to wait for the firewall guy, the networking guy, and the optimization guy, or the routing guy. I don't have to coordinate all those. I have a box, virtualize it, and bring it down. And I'll say one more thing. One thing that BT's doing as well is we're actually enabling this technology in some of our nodes. We call them cloud service nodes. Because what a lot of customers are telling us as well is, I don't want any of that on my site. On my site, I just want the circuit to terminate, but I want all that feature functionality in your POP, in your point of presence.
So you deliver it as a cloud-based service
So yeah, so we can deliver as a cloud-based service. So it's been a while to get there. I mean, arguably, for example, we've been running routing functionality on top of servers for years in our labs. But it's more been on the consumer-based. They're just nervous to deploy these technologies.
All right, one final question. On the panel today, you mentioned even having to engage the lawyers in the process, the legal department. And that you actually made a very good point, because it totally changes the contracts that you enter into.
Absolutely, and that's why I mentioned a top-down approach and not just the technical ease, if you will, and the technical training, but involving all aspects of the business. And a lot of people forget about legal because we still want to make sure that the T's and C's are correct and incorporated in. It's to protect our customers and it's to protect BT. So bringing the legal guys in to make sure that they understand the technology, what are we trying to sell, make the contracts more nimble, so that we can actually contract. Because I bring it full circle to a comment we made a little earlier. Customers want consumption-based. They don't want to be locked into 3-year contracts anymore. So the way we contract on networking services, companies like BT and our competition are going to have to think differently how we contract for these as well.
That makes a lot of sense. Jim, thanks for being here with me today.
Yes, thank you.